How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Rajasthan's top three fire collectively for the first time this season, and they finish with 205 for 4 against Punjab Kings. The first time 200 has been breached in Mullapur in the IPL. How good is that total? Do Punjab have a chance to make it 3 out of 3? Let's unpack the first innings on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout in the continued company of Mark Boucher, Wasim Jaffer, Matt Roller. Thank you, gentlemen. We all thought 170s, and you with your 200 looking good right now. But assessments on the pitch and where you think the score ranks?
Yeah, look, I think the wicket's a belter. It looks really good. Every batter who got an opportunity to get himself in, sort of got himself in. I think it's, amazes me to say this, but I think that's par on this particular pitch. I think that if you have a look at the batting and the way it went, not many of the batters who were there for a long period of time batted with a strike rate of over 150. So I think that Kings will look at that and go, that's par.
I do want to duck into the individual aspects, but your thoughts, Wasim? Do you echo the sentiment?
Yeah, I think 200 is about par. The pitch looks nice. And another interesting thing is spin only bowled 4 overs. And they rely very heavily on Hasaranga and Tikshana to bowl. So those 8 overs can be very costly. And Kings bat very deep. So I feel it's quite chaseable.
We've talked up a new Punjab Kings. Time to start talking up a new Mullapur. I mean, all those numbers we presented from last season can go out the window.
Yeah, quite possibly if it plays like we expect it to for the rest of this game, and if it extends throughout the course of their 4 home games. Definitely looked at a good surface. I don't think Punjab bowled too badly, to be fair. I think particularly Lockie Ferguson I thought was very impressive. Obviously got both openers out and a catch dropped off his bowling as well, which could have made it 3 for. So yeah, I think it could be a very different surface and potentially one that suits a very deep batting lineup like the one Punjab have.
Right, so let's tuck into that batting effort. It began with runs for the first time this season for Yashasvi Jaiswal, a solid 89-run stand between him and Sanju Samson. What stood out to you from that opening partnership and just how they almost fluctuated roles?
They both were coming to this game, were under a bit of pressure to score runs. And they got the Royals off to a fantastic start, let's put it that way. I mean, we spoke about them both giving themselves a bit of a chance to have a look at the crease. And that's exactly what they did, those first 10 balls. They didn't really go anywhere that fast. But then, once they got themselves in, then you saw the danger that they both can pose to any bowling lineup. So I think that, albeit they only got, 53 in the power play.
Mm-hmm.
If they had played this game tomorrow after a bit of form, you'd probably feel that power play might have been up at 65. But I think they gave themselves a good chance and created a good foundation for the rest of the batting lineup.
Yeah, because at 40 balls, which is what Jaiswal took to reach his 50, it's his slowest in the IPL. Do you put that down to a batter trying to find form, or was it conditions or bowling?
Well, it didn't look like he was finding his form because he's still looking to hit the ball really hard. He hit 5 6s and 3 4s. So don't, he's got high boundary rate, but still played a lot of dot balls. And I thought the Kings bowlers bowled really well. Barring that last over from Stoinis, I thought he managed it well. I just thought that they could have bowled Maxwell a little bit more. He's only bowled 1 over. Yuzi also didn't finish. The batters got hold of him. But other than that, I think, Kings didn't bowl badly.
15 dots out of the 45. Not often you see an innings with 5 6s, but a strike rate below 150.
Yeah, I suppose there might be an element of him just not having played that much cricket in 2025. I think he's had a quieter year in terms of volume than some, and he's probably a batter that, based on what we've seen historically, you'd think probably values that rhythm of having batted a bit. But yeah, so maybe that's part of it, and he's just finding form. I'm sure he'll grow into the tournament once this innings is sort of out the way almost. But yeah, it was an interesting mix for Jaiswal of batting very aggressively, but not necessarily having the strike rate that his aggression and his intent sort of implied.
Yeah, getting to 50, I think he faced close to 40 balls. Yeah. But then the next 5 balls after that, he almost went at an incredible strike rate. So it's almost like he needed to just be around there for another 2-3 overs in order for him to, have that match-winning innings that we all know that he's very capable of and he's done in the past as well. So, he'd be quite disappointed to get out when he did actually get out. It was at that point where, it was the tipping edge for him playing a very significant knock.
Second highest scorer is Riyan Parag with 43 not out of 25. But before we come to his innings in itself, the decision for him to come at number 3, Nitish Rana made 81 of 36 in the last game, 10.2 when the first wicket fell. Did you
I
agree?
just think it's a left-right combination left-right, because Sanju has got out, so it did make sense. It's also after 10 overs, so it doesn't make a lot of difference because you're not going to get power play. So, I mean, that was the right time for him to come in.
All right. And now as we begin to unpack Riyan Parag, because I think it was 12 of 14 balls. Then he had a couple of chances. There was a run-out miss. There was a skyer that Janssen was a tough one if he got to it. What do you make of how Riyan Parag went about things?
Yeah, it was a curious innings, wasn't it? I mean, he ends with a strike rate in the 170s, which looks pretty good, but probably not entirely. I don't think he hit every ball where he meant to, put it that way. But yeah, I think in terms of outcome, pretty good. Accelerating towards the back end, but they maybe didn't quite have that sort of one big destructive partnership in the second half of the innings that could have really taken the game away from Punjab and got them a huge score. But I still think with 200 plus on the board, you're never too disappointed.
When you consider, I mean, we've discussed two batters right now, Jaiswal, Parag, both of whom are usually fluent batters. When you see the stop-start nature of at least the first part of their innings, do you put that down to good bowling plans, or is there something in the surface which might be tough for batters coming in?
Well, I think it's good bowling plans. I think they sort of bowled a lot of change of pace into the wicket, which we saw create a lot of dot balls. A lot of batters are swinging a little bit early on the ball, especially Parag, to 1 or 2 overs. So that's, you got to drop your cap to them and say, well done for your plans, and it obviously worked. But on the same method as well, you look at how well Royals bowl. They'll probably look at that and say, that's the way we need to bowl on this particular wicket. So yeah, it's a bit of both. I think the conditions are very good to bat on, but I think it's quite a fair wicket as well. If you bowl well and you get the ball in the right area, you can create a bit of pressure.
Lockie Ferguson, standout bowler in the Punjab pack.
Yeah, I think so. I think he bowled really well, hit the nice length, plus the variations were pretty good as well. And that the wicket of Jaiswal, that he could have turned that game around had he batted another 10-15 deliveries.
Yeah.
Don't want to, without being critical about it, Yuzvendra Chahal bowled 3 overs, the last of which was the 13th. If you wanted to sub him off, there was an opportunity. Eventually, they kept him on the field, and he dropped a catch of Shimron Hetmeyer, which cost a few runs. What do you think? Why do you think that happened? Was there a plan to hold him back, and they retreated on it later?
Possibly. You never quite know what happens. Maybe they just felt that he's got one more over left, and who do you replace him with as well? Yeah, the catch. I mean, it's quite a difficult one. You don't quite know what his background was. So he put his hand up to the lights there. Maybe the lights were in his face. We've actually seen quite a few catches go down where players have looked at lights. So yeah, it's a tough one for him tonight. You'd want to be better than that. But yeah, with regards to him staying on the field, they maybe just thought that we might need him for another over at some sort of stage.
Yeah, they do usually sub him off as soon as that quota of 4 overs is done. What did happen though is that over wasn't used, and they went to Marcus Stoinis for the last over, and that cost them a few.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised because he generally doesn't bowl in that position. So you would have either wanted Janssen to bowl or maybe Lockie. But yeah, where you would use that 1 over. So yeah, Yuzi could have bowled a little bit earlier, and probably that's why. We've seen in the other game, Yuzi bowled his 4 overs and Priyan Sharia came in. That's how Ponting likes as well, because you want to give your batter, he's going to come and open, so give some time in the light as well. So maybe that was the plan, but it didn't come off.
Just a case of plans not working out to perfection.
Yeah, quite possibly. I suppose. I think often when, as a bowling team, you're not taking wickets, you maybe slightly change the order of who might bowl when, because of the fact that you're looking for that wicket through the middle. Maybe that meant that the allocations slightly changed. Obviously, Ferguson probably bowled out a little earlier than he normally would. Maybe it was something along those lines. I do think, as Wasim said, I think Ferguson was very impressive, and that knuckle ball, it's a ball that was very popular in the IPL probably 6-7 years ago. Kind of gone out of fashion a bit now, but takes real skill to bowl it. And yeah, you could see that wicket meant a lot to him. I think he was pretty pumped up when he took off stump out of the ground.
I can see that Forecaster is giving Rajasthan Royals a 66.3% chance of defending 205. I mean, that has a lot to do with past numbers, because all the numbers from Mullapur indicate that no total of this size has ever been made. But Wasim, when you consider how Punjab set about going with this chase, that all-Indian opening combination, two youngsters at the top, Prap Simran, he was the one who injected the fuel into the chase against Lucknow Super Giants the last time. How do you expect him to go on this ground, which he knows quite well?
Well, I don't think it matters to Prap Simran. He's going to come out and bat in the same fashion. But he's a little bit hit and miss. He can be hot and cold. But if he gets going, he makes bowler, really, the bowler doesn't know where to bowl. So if he goes past the power play, I feel Kings has a very good solid chance. I'm expecting them to win in 19th over.
Oh, we already have a call. I was going to ask you, Priyansh Arya, he really caught the eye in the first game when they took on Gujarat Titans. That opening pair, such a young Indian opening pair, both with explosive abilities that we've seen.
Yeah,
quite exciting.
Yeah, they're both exciting. And I mean, it's almost like no one really watches them because they look at that middle order and they go, how explosive is that? But, you've got to be careful because if the two of them, as Waz was saying as well, if they get past the power play, they're going to have a good score. And then it's really, every batter coming in after that until like the 9th position, if he comes off, he wins you a game. So, they've got to pay attention up front here. I think in order for them to, come back in or win this game for Royals, they've got to pick up a couple of wickets in the power play because it's going to be very difficult for them to limit those middle order batters to, not scoring those runs.
What could the Rajasthan Pacers have picked from what worked for Punjab?
I suppose changes of pace. You'd think someone like Sandeep Sharma will probably come into the game in the second half of the innings in particular. The thing I'm really interested to see is how Jofra Archer goes. He's been sort of hot and cold over the past period of time, really, but bowled a really good new ball spell in that last game against Chennai. And you'd think, particularly with two uncapped Indian openers, maybe that's the opportunity for him to break the game open for Rajasthan.
You have given your prediction, 19th over, Punjab to chase it down. Mark?
I think Punjab are going to chase it down as well. I think that they're playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. They did a lot of good things with the ball. They know the power that they have in the batting, and they're a confident team at the moment. That's why they're at the top. So I think they're going to chase us down.
Do you want to add an over? So just so we have.
No, I'm not going to add over. I think we're due another close game, so I'm hoping for a close game again.
All right.
Just to break the trend, I'll go Rajasthan to close it out off the last ball.
I see. And I have been informed that if you're sitting in this chair, the only thing you're allowed to say is that I'm predicting a super over. There's been 3 full seasons of the IPL since we haven't seen one. I share Ronak's sentiment. I want to see a super over too. And I can tell you there has been a wicket first ball. Priyansh Arya, bowled Jofra Archer. Anyone revisiting predictions?
No, doubling down. Thanks very much.
All right. Okay. It's an interesting start to the chase. We will leave it here and there will be a lot to pick up once this game is through. Be sure to join us then. Also keep sending in your comments. We will post that across to the panel. Mark, Wasim, Matt, see you in a bit. Let's see how this game unfolds. Be sure to join us at the end on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.